Hi and welcome to Best in Tesla and the new show Overflow episode 10. We continue to see Tesla sales ramp up in Europe as the production ramps up as well. And the same thing goes for China, that is doing extremely well. And we had some more news about Tesla's Cybercab as Sandy Munro talks with Lars and Franz about it. And the competition is heating up with full self-driving cars in China as Li Auto revealed their next generation. And Tesla's full self-driving is once again showing off in China. And apparently Tesla is set to introduce the Model 3 and Model Y in India very soon. And BYD just revealed their next supercharger stations and batteries that can charge with 10,000 kilowatts. All of this and much more in today's episode. We'll start right in.
Let's put our living stereo stylus in this groove.
We continue to see Tesla sales ramp up in Europe as the production ramp up as well. So, as I have been saying for the first 2 months of this year, Tesla sales are down because of the Model Y production shift over to the new Model Y, not because of Elon's politics. So, as I have showed in my Sunday news show, we are starting to see Tesla sales starting to rise up again in many countries around Europe. And we had the Berlin manager coming out and saying they don't see the demand problem and are only ramping up production in the Berlin factory. And you might remember this chart from Spain from the first 10 days of March, and we now have a new chart from Felix with the first 16 days, and the trend continues. Tesla is still selling about 4 times as many EVs in Spain as the closest competitor. And if we take all the countries in Europe that gives us daily sales, so countries that have a complete data model, we can see that in March Tesla is the best-selling brand, and the Tesla Model 3 is the second best-selling EV, and the best-selling EV is the Tesla Model Y. What a big surprise. And even if we take the 2 bad months into the calculation, we see that Tesla is still the second best-selling brand in Europe, and the Model Y is the best-selling EV in all of Europe. Even with the 2 months included, where Tesla's Model Y sales could basically be down something like between 30 to 40,000 units in production because of this shift. So if Tesla has such a huge problem that many want it to look like, I guess that is a problem that everyone else really wants to have. The best-selling BEV on the continent. And as Omar from Tesla wrote on X, it was important for us to begin deliveries of the new Model Y where the vehicle is manufactured, at the home of our biggest product, the factories. Thanks to everyone at Tesla for helping create and build an amazing product. And let's just hear it from some of the new owners of the new refreshed Model Y.
Looking at Teslas for a while, here to pick up this new Model Y. It's just different than any other vehicle.
I can autopilot too. You think that's really cool?
Ride quality, the speakers are nice, the seats, the design is hot. I don't know, everything just looks amazing.
Driving a Tesla compared to a combustion engine vehicle, it is just smooth, it's instant response. It feels like you're really more in control of the vehicle.
It's exciting to see how excited people are to work here. That's been my favorite part for sure.
Everybody buckled in?
Yes.
And we can also see the same thing is happening in China. I'm still blown away by how little Tesla has lost in sales in the first couple of months here. Like I just said, Tesla should be down like 30 to 40,000 units in Europe, but in China, because Tesla sales are much higher in China and the Shanghai factory has a much higher production rate, it could be as high as 50 to 80,000 units they should be down because of the shift to the new Model Y. But if we look at CERN's chart here, first we can see just how close Tesla is to last year's numbers. The yellow line there is Q1 2025 and the red dotted line is Q1 2024. As of now, we are only about 4,000 units behind Q1 of 2024. And as I said last week, we should see Tesla get back to 15 to 20,000 units, and that is exactly what has happened. Last week, Tesla sold 15,300 units. So that is why we have gained about 3,000 units in just 1 week, because the same week in 2024 was only 12,300. And AJ also shared a nice chart and wrote, latest data published this morning shows that Tesla sales in China continues to rapidly increase after the January-February lows caused by unavailability of the new Model Ys. Each of the last 3 weeks marked a new year-to-date high for Tesla sales in China. So I think it's pretty clear for everyone to see on this chart that Tesla sales are back on track in China with only a few weeks of ramping up production in the Shanghai factory. Just very impressive. So with only a couple of weeks back in this Q1, the race between Q1 2025 and 2024 is going to be extremely close. Tesla might even sell more in China than last year's Q1. If that is the case, that is simply just nuts that they are able to do this with the shift to the new Model Y line in the most productive factory on the planet. So I really think Tesla could have another record year in China with the very strong demand we're seeing for the new refreshed Model Y, and we have 2 new, more affordable models coming as well. And we talked about the perception of Tesla being in big trouble and demand falling because of the shift to the Model Y, but we are seeing someone like Rivian being down 21% in the US in February. Not something we hear about in the mainstream media, and they would probably just blame Elon's politics anyway. But it's probably more to do with policy shift, competition, economic pressure, and supply chain, which align with Rivian's own warnings and broader EV market dynamics. But no mention of that in the mainstream media, only that Tesla is down and it's all because of Elon. But we can see that Tesla sales are bouncing back in Europe, where sales truly are down quite a bit, but still leading the way in EVs, and in China, where Tesla is not down as much as we should expect. So Tesla still looks very strong to me. And we had some more news about the Tesla Cybercab, as Sandy Monroe talked with Lars and Franz about it. And we learned that Tesla's Cybercab will get less than 50 kilowatt-hour of battery pack, but still have 300 miles of range. That would make it the most efficient EV on the market. To compare another little EV on the market, the Volkswagen ID.3, that has a 77 kilowatt-hour battery pack and also have a little over 300 miles of range, so the Cybercab will be able to do something like 6 miles per kilowatt-hour. That is very, very good, and will make the cost per mile much cheaper for Tesla than any of the competitors on robotaxis. Like Waymo, current robotaxi, that is the Jaguar I-Pace, that has almost twice the amount of batteries in it, a 90 kilowatt-hour battery pack, and has an official EPA efficiency rating translated to approximately 2.5 miles per kilowatt hour. So the Tesla Cybercab is about 2.5 times more efficient than Waymo's robotaxis. And even Waymo's next generation robovan with the Seeker RT, well, that vehicle don't have a much better efficiency. It should have something like 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour, but that is all before Waymo's many sensors that will draw a lot of power compared to Tesla's AI4, AI5 chip that are designed to be super energy efficient and only have a few cameras. They will not draw as much power as Waymo's big sensor package. So the Cybercab will probably still be twice as efficient. So this will add to the cost per mile I made a whole video about when I went to had some time with the Cybercab. So the energy cost for Waymo is going to be much higher than for Tesla, and the cost of the Waymo Seeker Robovan is likely 5 to 6 times more expensive for Waymo to get on the street than the Cybercab. And like I showed in that video, Waymo will never be able to compete on price just because of that simple fact the car is so much more expensive. And that is if they pay the same per mile in cost of electricity. But that is also going to be more expensive for Waymo. So Waymo being 3 times more expensive to run per mile as I showed in that video is, like I said, an unrealistic best case scenario. And Lars also confirmed in the interview that Tesla is already getting equipment installed for production of the Cybercab, and has said that Tesla will produce prototypes during this summer, probably for the Austin launch, and then start volume production in 2026. So all of that still seems to be on schedule. And the competition is heating up with full self-driving cars in China as Li Auto revealed their next generation. Li Auto unveiled its next generation autonomous driving architecture, MindVLA, Virtual Language Action, at NVIDIA GTC 2025 on March the 18th. Described as a robot large model by CEO Li Xiang, MindVLA integrates spatial, linguistic, and behavioral intelligence into one single system, aiming for level 4 autonomy with human-like abilities. It uses a custom-trained large language model with a spare attention mechanism and a MoE architecture for efficient reasoning. Alongside diffusion techniques for optimizing trajectory planning, the system supports real-time voice command and autonomous exploration, like finding a supermarket without preset navigation. Li Auto claims a MindVLA could redefine autonomous driving, akin to the iPhone 4's impact on the smartphone, transforming cars into smart, adaptive agents. So they are trying to take the same approach as Tesla with the vision and neural network, so no LiDAR, but I don't think we have many people left with a functional brain that thinks LiDAR is still needed. But we also have to remember, this is just a concept. Li Auto's MindVLA, unveiled as a concept at NVIDIA's GTC, is likely pre-production with no public mileage or real-world testing data yet. It's a future-facing system and is focusing on more than just the driving skill, but also integration of large language model and communication with the driver. Whereas Tesla's full self-driving system is actively deployed and has close to 4 billion miles driven as of now. It is battle tested, but still requires human supervision. So let's see how MindVLA will do over the next couple of years as they gather real-world data. But we do see that Tesla's full self-driving system are doing extremely impressive things in China on a weekly basis. Aaron shared another insane video clip from China where they are really pushing the system to its limits. And in this video, you can see it handles this scary road with a little tiny bridge to go over and some extremely bad dirt roads. Not bad. And Keys shared this video, shared by Herbert, of a Tesla save its driver for getting into an accident, and as Keys wrote, lifesaver. Let's hope the European Commission and UNECE is watching these videos as well. With regulatory approval lurking around the corner, now is the time for full self-driving to speak for itself. Let's hope the data Tesla provides to RDW is so good that it cannot be ignored. And I don't think it can. As Elon also said before, he thinks it takes like 6 billion miles collected by full self-driving that will be needed for unsupervised full self-driving. So Tesla should have around 4 billion miles already driven on full self-driving, as we can see on their chart from their earnings report. They went from about 2 billion around September to close to 3 billion at the end of December. So in the span of just 3 months, they should have easily added another 1 billion miles driven, probably more. So that all lines up perfectly with 3 to 4 billion miles for supervised full self-driving to get approved, and then 6 billion miles to get unsupervised full self-driving approved by this summer. And Tesla can also show the EU that the cars using autopilot technology is about 5 to 6 times safer than a Tesla not using autopilot tech and the average US driver. So this should all play in favor for Tesla to get approval here in the EU. And Tesla has also started to offer a 1-month free trial to Chinese hardware for users. As Aaron wrote, I am seeing live streams of people downloading full self-driving again. Yep, this will only increase the demand for Tesla's car and give them a bit more profits. And yes, it really feels like we are getting extremely close to that full self-driving future we have all been talking about for almost 6 years now on this channel. BYD showed off their new supercharging stations and batteries in action that can pull over 1,000 kilowatts. As Tycho shared, BYD's new supercharger in action, 1002 kilowatts, 2 kilometers added per second, 400 kilometers in just 5 minutes. Chinese carmaker BYD is developing a 10C 1000 kilowatt superchargers. It is called the Megawatt Flash Charger. The system works with the EVs of BYD, Denza, Fangxingbao and Yangwang brands. At the media event, BYD demonstrated the new chargers with the Tong LEV, which had a 100 kilowatt Blade LFP battery and a 670 kilometers of range. BYD will roll out the new chargers in China this year. It is remarkable turnaround. BYD was never known for its fast charging speed. On the contrary, its LFP battery packs usually had a slower charging speed than the competition, but with the new 1000 volt, 1000 amp, 1 megawatt superchargers, BYD is suddenly on top. Yes, very, very impressive here from BYD. And it seems like ARK Invest's prediction of 4 minutes to get 200 miles of range in 2027 was too pessimistic. 200 miles is about 320 kilometers, so BYD just demonstrated 400 kilometers in 5 minutes. So we're basically there, 2 years earlier than what ARK Invest predicted. So this is really like the level of fueling your ICE cars, getting 400 kilometers in just 5 minutes. So what is left for cons for the ICE car? That they smell bad or make our city more noisy? Yeah, nothing left for the ICE car. This tech will be rolled out over the next few years, both in the cars and the charging stations, which also leads me to another stupid thing, battery swap station. Yes, they have just made them completely obsolete. Also because NIO keeps shooting themselves in the foot. Like Tycho also shared. Not again. NIO ET9 battery swap technology is not compatible with all NIO's swap station. I mean, this is just dumb on a whole other level. That would be like Tesla selling the new Tesla Model Y, but it would not be able to use Tesla superchargers. But NIO has made a very expensive bet that we are seeing being destroyed as we speak by extremely fast chargers in China. They can add 400 kilometers of range faster than NIO can do a battery swap. And let's squeeze in the last short news topics into this news show. Yes, it's time for the Tesla shorts. And we see a video of a guy keying a Tesla that got caught on camera being confronted with it by a local. And he really just didn't know what to say, standing there in his USA jacket, having been keying an American branded car and driving away in his Korean car. Yeah, people that are keying cars, no matter the brand, are all just cowards. And apparently Tesla is set to introduce the Model 3 and Model Y in India very soon. According to IANS, Tesla India Motors and Energy, Tesla's Indian subsidiary, is said to have submitted 2 homologation applications for the registrations of the Model Y and Model 3 in India. All vehicles must go through this process before they can be sold in the country. So we are getting very close to Tesla entering the Indian market. And Xiaomi has delivered its 200,000th vehicle. And that is in 12 months. Something Ford, GM, Audi and Mercedes are still dreaming about. Xiaomi has done with only one model, and that was their first ever EV model. Just very, very impressive. And Toronto exclude Tesla from EV incentive due to the US trade war. But it's not as big of an issue as many might think, as AJ reported on X. Why is this not material? The whole of Canada on an annual basis account for approximately 50,000 Tesla vehicle sales. Toronto, as the largest population center and wealth adjusted, likely account for approximately 10 to 14% of total Canada Tesla sales. This applies an annual sales headwind of 5 to 6,000 vehicles. This apply a quarterly impact of 1,300 to 1,800 units. Q1 2025 is less than 2 weeks till closing, and this measures will have absolutely zero impact on Q1, and the numbers in general looks very, very small. And we had some great news reported by Brian for people using Starlink in South Africa and neighboring countries, as Starlink is expected to launch a ground station in Mozambique by the end of March, increasing the satellite broadband service capacity and reducing latency across southern Africa. Like other satellite service, the SpaceX-operated Starlink requires ground station to facilitate backhaul connectivity to internet servers. This capability allows Starlink to provide connectivity across vast areas without ground stations, including the ocean and desert remote areas. Nice. And Mario reported $8.4 billion rare earth discovered could end U.S. dependence on China. Scientists at the University of Texas at Austin have uncovered a massive domestic supply of rare earth elements buried in the coal ash landfills across the U.S. With an estimated 11 million tons available, this discovery could significantly reduce reliance on China, which currently supplies 75% of the U.S. rare earth needs. The study, backed by the U.S. Department of Energy, estimates that the material holds $8.4 billion in value. If successful, this breakthrough could reshape global supply chain and secure America's energy future. Very cool. Just as Tesla said at their shareholder meeting back in 2023, that the more we look, the more lithium we find. And Arian also shared this little video. You have probably seen Mark's controversial video about him driving a full self-driving car but using autopilot and not full self-driving, and the whole thing just seems to be sponsored by Lumina, a LiDAR company, here 3 days before their earnings report. But anyway, here we can see some Chinese people having put up a transparent film wall, and Tesla easily avoided and tried it several times and stopped for the pedestrian in the other lane as well. So, not bad at all. And Bradford Ferguson from Rebillionaire also shared this post. Tesla full self-driving on the new Model Y is insanely good, unbelievably smooth. It feels like it's floating. Utterly perfection. Just took delivery today. I'm over the moon happy. Congratulations, Bradford. And if you don't get just how smooth full self-driving is, as Bradford just mentioned, Aaron is once again here sharing some videos of full self-driving in China. And here they are doing the water in a cup test they have put on the door, and now sees if the car can drive without spilling the water. And it seems to be handling it very good. That is what people mean when they say full self-driving is so smooth. You can safely drink a cup of coffee in the Cybercab when it hits the street without spilling the hot drink. And if you hear people saying they will never buy an EV, you know you're talking to a person that has never been driving an EV, as a new global EV driver survey showed that 92% of EV drivers says they will never go back. With response from over 23,000 EV drivers in 18 countries, the service reveals that 92% of EV owners plans to buy another zero-emission vehicles for their next vehicle. Yep, I for one is never going to buy another ICE car in my life. Every time I get back into one, it just feels like there's something wrong with it. But there is not. It's just how bad an ICE car really is. That is all we have time for in this Overflow News Show. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button. It really does help this video out a lot so others can find it on YouTube. And if you did like it, maybe you want to consider hitting that subscribe button to help this channel grow, and maybe that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos just like this one. And if you're already a subscriber to the channel, thank you so much for the support. But if you want to support the channel even more, remember you can, for as little as $1, become a patron of this channel, or become a member of the YouTube channel to get a shout out as some extra perks like early access, ad-free versions of my videos, exclusive videos. So hit the members button or check out Patreon to find out more. And don't forget to follow me on X. I post pretty much all the news as it comes out and a lot more. And check out the merch store to get some merchandise and support the show. It is also possible to support the show without becoming a member or a patron. There is a donation option down below or on my website bestintesla.com. You can also become an executive producer and get news articles, exclusive videos, behind the scenes, and access to all my research charts and spreadsheet also on bestintesla.com, or as simple as hitting the super like button. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.